She is a member of one of America's most famous musical families, the sister of the king of pop, Michael Jackson, of course. Oh, look at the familiar face, the beautiful face of Toya Jackson. This video, I Just Want to Dance. And like so much of the output from the fabulously talented Jackson family, you hear the song and you just want to dance. There are few showbiz families that qualify as fully fledged dynasties, and surely the Jacksons are right at the top of that very short list. I hope you made that pocket there. Here's a look at her book, Starting Over. It is available now in paperback. You guys changed the cover.
Yes.
Joining me now is Toya Jackson. Welcome, Toya. I didn't know from the hardback to the paperback.
Yes.
Right there. Where are we there?
This is paperback.
You went from the cover with your brother to the cover of just
yourself. To the
yourself.
cover of just myself, yes, Starting Over.
Now, I have to tell you, I went through this, I just read it as quickly as you could believe. You spent almost the first 200 pages really talking about your torment with your former manager, your former husband, Jack Gordon. Why so much time spent on that?
Because that's what the book was about. The book was about people going through obstacles and turbulent lifestyles and things that happen in their life and being able to have the opportunity to start over. No matter what happens in your life, I want women out there and men to know that it doesn't matter what you go through in life, how hard it's been, how turbulent it's been, you always have the opportunity to start over. And that's what Starting Over is about. So it was basically about my life, what I went through. And during that period of writing Starting Over, of course, unfortunately, my brother passed away, so I put a little bit of that in the book. But I was writing that far before that happened. So that's why it's basically about abuse, actually.
And it is. And there is no doubt. I mean, there are photographs of you having been hit by Jack Gordon. You recount many beatings and both psychological abuse. You blame him for making you speak out against your brother Michael during the first child abuse scandal involving Jordy Chandler back in 1993. You blame him for turning you against your own family. You said that he got you to believe that they wanted to kidnap you or kill you, your own family.
Not so much turning me against them, but not allowing me to speak to them or having any contact with them. I wasn't allowed to use the phone. I wasn't allowed to talk on the phone. If my brothers would accidentally get my number and call me, that was a beating. I would get a beating, so it's like, oh, guys, please don't call me. So it was one of those situations.
No one can in any way understand what you must have gone through.
No.
And yet, many who follow your story, who follow what has happened in the last 20 years, have also said that Jack Gordon is dead. And can't respond to the charges that you've brought against him in this book.
But I wish that he was here right now, this very moment, so he can speak up, because perhaps he would learn something and know that this is something that's not supposed to happen. As a matter of fact, when I finally did get the nerve to leave him, he begged for me to come back. He says, please come back to me. Please, 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 I will give you all your money back. I will never hit you again. I will allow you to speak to your family. I know what I did was wrong. So he knew it was wrong, but it's just that control factor that a lot of people have over someone else. And they instill that fear in you the way he did. And he tells you that if you don't do what I tell you to do, you don't say what I tell you to say, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to kill your brother. So what do? Especially when you know that he's capable of doing it.
So you don't take ownership of even the Playboy, the video?
Playboy, I did.
Playboy
I absolutely did it.
Twice.
But you can ask my family, my mother, anything, my father, and they will say, my mother always says, and Michael too, sweetheart, we know you. We know your heart. We know your personality. My mother would always say, I know that's not you, honey. And he would say, you get on TV, you say it's your thought, your idea, your everything. But ask Hugh Hefner, ask anybody at the Playboy Mansion, they will tell you, they said, oh my God, you know what my nickname there is?
What?
Mother Teresa. They go, she wouldn't take off anything. She cried, and we had to wait 3 days. And it accidentally slipped.
Okay, all right.
Meaning the top I had on a robe and just the little nipple show. But it's basically just the breasts. That's what I exposed, the breasts, and nothing else, actually. But that was too much for me.
And would have been too much for Mother Teresa, too. In any case, let's move on to 2002. You finally did reconnect with Michael. And you got to know the way he was as a father. You say he was a good dad, even though he had gone through so much controversy, from the very beginning of dangling his son over the balcony, through putting masks on his kids, and you say that was okay. You think that was a good thing to do?
With the mask?
Yeah.
Absolutely, during that time with him. And the reason I say this, Jeff, because Michael knew who he was. Michael, as you well know, is known all over the world, and he still is, and he couldn't go anywhere. And when he wanted to be with his kids, he didn't want the world to know who his kids were. So he would put masks on them. So when they weren't with him, they could still go out and enjoy the world, and the world would know who they are. They would know these are Michael Jackson's kids. So he did it for a very good reason, and it was quite clever, actually, to be quite honest with you.
Sure, it was
because they could have a normal life when they weren't with him as well.
Now, and yet, even you say, as we move into 2005, 2006, you started to become worried about Michael. He became more and more secluded. He became emaciated, and it would seem to me to be difficult to be a good dad if you have once again become addicted to painkillers and sleep medication, as we now know your brother did. So how do you
I
look
have
back
to correct
on that?
you on that. Michael was a fabulous father. And
I'm
Michael,
not saying he wasn't. I'm just trying to understand how the two can go together.
I understand what you're saying, but what I will say to you also is that during the autopsy, and the coroners had come to me, of course, and they said that all the medicine that they found in Michael's body was basically what they had injected into him that night. There was nothing prior in his body. So Michael was very clean. He didn't have, it was what they had given him that night is what they found in his body. So as
when
you're
did it all
saying, he
happen?
was a good father. He was able to do whatever. He was so sweet. He would make them go to bed and say, no, you've had enough sweet. One sweet is enough. He would just make breakfast for them, do whatever they wanted. And that's what I love about him. Even though he was going through so much and so many rehearsals and so many things that he had to do, he took the time out to make sure that his children came first.
Do his kids ever question, or when they, and if they do question, their parentage of whether biologically Michael is their father or whether Debbie Rowe biologically is their mother? Who will answer that?
He is their father. Michael is their father, and they know that Michael is their father. And they also know who their mother is. They know that Debbie is their mother as well.
All right, all right. Now, during the last part of the final part of his life, the This Is It tour was going to resurrect his not only career, but financially, he needed that to happen. You hold a lot of contempt for AEG and for AEG Live's president, Randy Phillips. You had some very bad things to say about, you were suspicious of them.
I don't think it's bad. I think I was suspicious of what Michael has basically said and what he had told me what was taking place and what was going on in his life. Michael promised me that they were going to kill him, and I didn't believe him in the beginning. I said, Michael, you're Michael Jackson. That's impossible. He says, you don't understand. This is what's going to happen to me. I'm not saying he said these certain particular people, but he said they are going to do this to me.
And you're still investigating his death.
And they did this to him, is what he's saying. They're going to do it to me. So that's basically what I'm saying.
So Conrad Murray's conviction is not enough for you. You're still investigating his death.
I think it's important that everybody knows what actually happened to my brother. I think they should know what happened to Michael Jackson. People should, his children deserve the right to know.
Do you know?
Do I know?
You say they deserve to know what happened.
They deserve to know the truth. I can't tell you verbatimly that I know because I wasn't right there at that very moment when this happened to him.
Right.
But from what I've heard and what people have said to me, I have doubts. I have doubts.
All right. The book is written with your best friend and your manager, Jeffrey Phillips.
My business partner, yes.
Your business partner?
Yes.
Well, you call him your best friend in the book, too.
He's that.
All
Are you
right.
kidding?
And it really is a fun read, and it's
It
a fast read, and it's because you just want to keep going and going and going.
I know. Isn't it great?
What's next for you?
Isn't it great? I'm busy doing television shows. I'm going into production to do a show myself.
Reality TV?
Well, that's what I'm producing at the moment because I'm doing a lot of behind-the-scene things. So you're going to see a lot of me. You'll see a whole lot. So there's a whole lot coming up.
Armed and famous.
I love
Toya
it.
Jackson, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Great
Thank you
speaking
very
to
much.
you.
Pick up the book, everybody. We will be right back.